Hey everybody, Cster91 here, and you better prepare yourselves because I'm about to answer your questions on my Q&A. Before I start, however, I just want to let you all know I'm going to be answering all the questions in this Q&A, and some questions in this are basically the same but by different users. So I'm going to start off with those questions by those users. Starting with this question from Transformers fan Co217, Mr. PunchDrunk1, Barber747, and Shadowstar1224. Why do you have Scratch from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog as your YouTube avatar? Simply because he's my favorite character from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. You just gotta love his voice and how he goes, Sorry if that was too loud for you. But anyways, on to the next questions. wsdtime and Transformers fan Co217 asks, what is your favorite Sonic game? By far my favorite Sonic game would be Sonic Adventure 2 Battle or Sonic Unleashed for the 360. Next question from SonikuFan14 and InfernotheFox. Who is your favorite Sonic character? I have three favorites in mind. Sonic the Hedgehog himself, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Knuckles the Echidna. But if you count the characters from cartoons, there's Dr. Robotnik from AOSTH, and especially Scratch. Well, now that I got the questions from more than one users out of the way, I'm going to be starting off with the single questions. Starting with Transformers fan Co217, who has 3 questions for me. Number 1. Do you think I should reopen my Q&A video for the new subscribers I got, as I had reopened it? I think so. That'll give your new subscribers a chance to ask you some questions, so you can answer them and call them out. So I'd say yes. Number 2. Have you seen, read, or played Scott Pilgrim? Honestly, no. I've never heard of Scott Pilgrim before, but I did hear about the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and I heard a lot of good reviews for it, so I think I'll check it out. Number 3. What's your favorite villain song? My favorite villain song would be one of these 3. The World's Greatest Criminal Mind from Great Mouse Detective, the Oogie Boogie song, and Be Prepared from The Lion King. Next up, we got 5 questions from one of my greatest buddies on YouTube, Shadsilbs11. Number 1. South Park or Family Guy? What do you prefer? You know, Shadsilbsen, that's a very good question. Both South Park and Family Guy are very funny and creative shows. Probably Family Guy because the humor in it is more like the humor that I prefer. Don't get me wrong, I do like South Park, but in my opinion, Family Guy is better. Number 2. If you had the chance to punch anyone in the face, who would it be? That's an easy one. I would punch whoever is making all those unnecessary changes to YouTube. You know, when they changed the homepage. Number 3. What's your favorite boss theme in any video game? My favorite boss theme would be the Egg Golem battle from Sonic Adventure 2. Number 4. What's the hardest game you have ever beaten? That would be Perfect Dark for the Nintendo 64. Number 5. What would you say were the best movies you've seen in the past year? I am very happy that you asked me that. The best movies I've seen in the past year would be How to Train Your Dragon, Toy Story 3, Despicable Me, The King's Speech, and A Social Network. And since you asked me that question, I'd like to tell everyone the upcoming movies I'm looking forward to. Sanctum, Yu-Gi-Oh! 3D, Transformers 3, Pirates of the Caribbean 4, and Scream 4. Also, there's Cowboys and Aliens and Kung Fu Panda 2. Now on to the next questions. 2 questions from wsdtime. Number 1. What's your favorite song? A tie between YMCA from Village People and Don't Stop Till You Get It On from Michael Jackson. Number 2. What's your favorite video game theme song? Live and Learn from Sonic Adventure 2, hands down. Okay, who's next to have his questions answered? 2 questions from Mr. Punch Drunk 1. Number 1. Who would win in a fight between Captain Falcon or Reva Kid? Oh, totally Captain Falcon, hands down. Number 2. Who would you cross Sonic over with? I would probably cross Sonic over with Klonoa. See how it turns out. It might make a good mix. Okay, who's next? 4 questions from SonikuFan14. Number 1. Worst fan bases out of all of them. Sonic, Naruto, Halo, or Twilight? Definitely the Sonic fan base, my friend. They are an insult to me, Shed11, GST Superworld 87, and many other true Sonic fans. Number 2. Favorite video of mine? By far my favorite video from you is probably your rant on little kids on YouTube, because they're just plain ridiculous and they shouldn't be on YouTube in the first place. Also, you made good points too. Number 3. Favorite school subject? I'd say it's a tie between algebra, history, graphics, and television class. Number 4. Ice cream or cake? Cake all the way. Ice cream is good, but it can give you brain freeze, so I'm gonna stick with cake. Unless the cake is a lie, then I stick with the ice cream. Okay, next up is another great buddy of mine on YouTube. GST Superworld 87 with 3 questions. Number 1. Which is your favorite rock band? I have 3 personal favorites in mind. The Beach Boys. I remember seeing them on concert as a kid and they were fantastic. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, a great 60s music band. I was introduced to them by the Broadway musical Jersey Boys. If you haven't seen Jersey Boys, if you're a Frankie Valli Four Seasons fan, check this musical out. Anyways, next is Kiss, Guns N' Roses, and especially Crush 40. Number 2. What's the best Mario Kart alternative? That would be Mario Kart for the Wii. Number 3. Who is the best voiceover from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon? Oh, that's an easy one. Long John Baldry as Dr. Ivo Robotnik, hands down. Okay, next up are 2 questions from TitanLighthog. Number 1. Do you think we should nuke Pizza Huts everywhere to stop Osama von Hitler's plan to enslave cute little bunnies? I'm not sure, but where did you get that question from? Is that supposed to be a joke or something? Number 2. Why do you think I just asked this? I think you were just asking it for the lulz. Up next is InfernotheFox with 4 questions. Number 1. Which Sonic character's theme tune is your favorite? My favorite Sonic character's theme tune would be It Doesn't Matter from Sonic Adventure 2, or I Am the Eggman. Number 2. If you could kill Amachow, how would you kill him? I would crush him to death with that hammer Sonic has. By the way, that picture is not mine. Go to the link in the description and give the artist the credit. Number 3. What other game franchises do you like? Besides the Sonic franchise, I also like the Mario franchise, the WarioWare franchise, and the Zelda franchise. And I'm also getting into the Klonoa franchise too. Number 4. Which video game characters would you like to kick in the nuts the most? Just one. That would be Dr. Eggman, because I bet he would react in a very funny way if I kicked him in the nuts a lot. Up next is another great buddy of mine, Jordan River 89, with 2 questions. Number 1. Who is your favorite hero character from the Mario series? I have 2 favorites in mind. That would be Super Mario himself and Yoshi. Number 2. Anime or manga? What do you prefer? Anime all the way. And we've got one suggestion from Barber747. Even though I thought about doing my own version of the following video I'm about to mention, I think you should still give your 2 cents on a video of Marta Plumber's called Why Sonic Adventure Sucks. Marta Plumber is pretty much old news to me and to most users on YouTube. However, I may do one more commentary on Marta Plumber in the style I did to Guptil89, and do a commentary on his video, Why Sonic Adventure Sucks, and point out how he's trolling and how his failing is more obvious than IGN's Sonic Unleashed review. Up next is BrickishStudios with 2 questions. Number 1. If you could beat 2 people to death with a baseball bat, who would they be and why? That's an easy one. With a baseball bat, I would beat up Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer, the guys responsible for Date Movie, Epic Movie, Beat the Spartans, Disaster Movie, and Vampire Suck. And all those movies failed. Those 2 just ignore criticism and make things worse for themselves. In fact, I think Shed11 or GSD Superworld 87 should have them as victims for their top 5 ways to kill series. Number 2. If you had a getaway with anything for an hour, which let's say is 3 things, what would they be and why? Just one thing in mind, and that's probably driving around a major city in my father's Land Cruiser without his permission. Up next is another great buddy of mine on YouTube. 2 questions from RickyRay102. Number 1. What's your favorite Bond movie or game? I have 007 favorite films for 007. From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, The Spy Who Loved Me, License to Kill, GoldenEye, and Casino Royale. As for my favorite 007 video games, I have 3 in mind. GoldenEye, Nightfire, and Everything or Nothing. Number 2. What do you think is the worst fan base ever? That would be the Sonic fan base, and I'm sure there's no need to explain why. Next up is GermanWong97 with 5 questions. Number 1. What is your favorite Mario game? I have 2 favorite Mario games by far, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo and Super Mario 64. Number 2. Ever play Bomberman? Not really, but I do remember watching my friends play Bomberman 64, and I've played Bomberman X-Zero for the Xbox 360, and that game is terrible. Just stay away from that game at all costs. Number 3. Do you think that Namco are going to make Klonoa 3? Oh, I hope Namco makes a Klonoa 3. If there's a Sonic the Hedgehog 3, if there's a Super Mario Bros. 3, then there should be a Klonoa 3. Number 4. Do you want Klonoa 2 remake for the Wii? Yes, I do, my friend. Yes, I do. Number 5. What stuff do you want to put for Sonic 4 Episode 2? I would add Tails and Knuckles and have the ability to play as those characters in the game. Next up, we have one question from AdamsWii. Name 1 to 3 franchises that you really like, and why? No problem. I like the Mario franchise because I grew up playing Mario. I like the Zelda franchise because the Zelda games are awesome. And I like the Sonic franchise. Despite Sonic having a broken fan base, his games never fail to please me. Next up, we have 5 questions from ShadowStar1224. Number 1. What's your favorite book? My favorite book by far would be either To Kill a Mockingbird, Tuesdays with Morrie, or The Things They Carried. But if you're talking about manga, then my favorite is Yu-Gi-Oh! Number 2, Spider-Man or Batman? I choose Batman. Number 3, 3DS. Like it? Hate it? Opinions? I don't have an opinion on it yet. However, I heard that you can see the 3D effects without the use of 3D glasses, and it has long-lasting battery. And if I ever get a 3DS, I might try out Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D or Paper Mario 3D. Number 4. That picture of Z-Star is very high def, higher than my version. How do you do it? You're talking about this picture, right? Don't ask me. I didn't do anything to it. I just found it off of Google. Just follow the link in the description and you can see it for yourself. Next up, we have 2 questions from the PS2 God. Number 1. What is your favorite animated movie and what is the worst theatrical film you have ever seen? My favorite animated movie is The Lion King, totally hands down. As for the worst movie that I've seen, that would be Epic Movie. Number 2. Resident Evil or Silent Hill? I haven't played any of those games yet, so far, no opinion. Well, now that I got all the questions from the comments done, let's read the questions from my private messages. Now, there are only 2 private messages. Starting with this one from SSJKlonoa. What inspired you to do commentaries? Many commentators on YouTube, my friend. There are so many, I can't get them all, but I'll show you 3 of my favorites. GST Superworld 87, Shadsilbs11, and Ricky Ray 102. And now it's time for our final question asker for our Q&A. 4 questions from GenerationGamingX. Number 1. Sonic Adventure or Sonic Colors? So far, I've only played the first level of Sonic Colors, and I need more experience on that game, so I'm sticking with Sonic Adventure. Number 2. What are your thoughts on Dr. Pepper? It's a good soda, but I like Pepsi and Coca-Cola better. Number 3. Ever had a girlfriend? No, I don't have a girlfriend. Although I do have friends who are girls, but I don't have a girlfriend. Number 4. Favorite food? My favorite food is mostly pizza and hamburgers. Simple as that. Well, that's all for my Q&A. This is Cster90. Wait, what? A bonus question? Okay, let's check it out. Bonus question from GenerationGamingX. Do you like big butts when they fart? Well, what? What kind of a crazy question is that? Hell no, it's disgusting. However, in movies I may like it. Like the dream scene in The Nutty Professor where the professor becomes a giant and then he farts making a wind. Now that scene was funny. Well, that's all the questions I have to answer. I'm glad to answer them. Well, maybe except for that bonus question I just answered. But anyways, this is Cster91 signing out.